10 days from today, Lyle and Eric Menendez are scheduled to go before a judge in hopes of being resentenced for killing their parents in 1989. That long-awaited and twice rescheduled hearing is happening, or so we think. And if you're Lyle and Eric Menendez, the good news stops right there. Because the LA District Attorney, who came out a week ago against the brothers' bid for a new trial, says he's now against a resentencing, too. Nathan Hochman is asking the court to tear it up, just tear up that the motion that was filed last fall by my predecessor, backing the brothers and this pathway to freedom. Because the DA today says that those brothers still lack, in his words, quote, acceptance of responsibility for their murderous actions. Nathan Hochman says over the course of the investigation and the trial, Lyle and Eric Menendez lied about 20 different things, but then only ever came clean on about 4 of them. So the acknowledged lies, those 4 ones, he says, are telling 911 that they had just discovered their parents' bodies. They admitted that wasn't true. Initially insisting that they had nothing to do with the murders. They admitted that wasn't true. Suggesting that the mafia might be to blame. They admitted that wasn't true. And claiming that their father's lover warned Eric that he was in danger. They admitted that that wasn't true. But there were 16 lies that the DA is talking about. And so there are 16 allegedly unacknowledged lies. And that includes our motive was self-defense. Our father supposedly drugged and raped our friend, a girlfriend of ours. We didn't plan an alibi ahead of time. And Eric's therapist blackmailed us into confessing. And it goes on and on from there. Those are the lies that the DA says, you have never acknowledged these. You have never taken them back and said they're not true. And this is where it gets interesting. The DA says if the brothers, quote, unequivocally and sincerely and fully accept the complete responsibility for all their criminal actions, he will reconsider resentencing. But what exactly would that entail? Like, what form? If they want to make these admissions, even if they would make them, like, how do they do it? Do they call, write, you know? And how much reconsidering is DA Hochman actually prepared to do? Boy, I sure wish I could ask DA Hochman, and guess what? I can. The Los Angeles County District Attorney is back on the program with me tonight. Nathan Hochman, good to see you. Thank you. I really appreciate you joining me on these nights when the news is breaking, because we all have questions. I can't go over all 16 of these so-called lies, but I can tell you that their attorney says they have acknowledged them. They acknowledged them in cross-examination. They acknowledged them in the trials that they went through. They've acknowledged them in, video series, the Netflix series. They've acknowledged them in phone calls. Is there a kind of acknowledgement you're specifically looking for?
They actually haven't, and that's the key. And by the way, just to be clear about the process, there are 2 different ways to get through to resentencing. The court filed its own motion, and the DA filed a second motion. We said that we're prepared to go forward on the court's motion, but we made the point that we'd like to withdraw the DA's motion because it contained no analysis on whether or not the Menendezes truly have completely accepted responsibility for all their actions and exhibited insights into those actions. And here's what I mean by that. Their main defense at trial was not sexual abuse. I actually read passages from their own testimony that said specifically, well, did you kill your parents because you were sexually abused? The answer was no. Their defense all along has been self-defense. They thought that their mom and their dad were going to kill them the night of August 20th, 1989, so they had to preemptively kill them first. And what we pointed out through an 87-page document that we filed today is that story is a fabrication. We pointed out the fact that they had engaged in premeditated and deliberate acts, everything from purchasing shotguns 2 days before by driving all the way to San Diego, 120 miles from LA, using fake IDs and a fake address to purchase the shotguns. We pointed out that their alibi, they actually pre-planned the alibi hours before the shooting. They were going to go to Batman the movie and meet a friend afterwards. That even during the shooting itself, we pointed out that they staged the shooting to look like a mafia hit by shooting the dad through the back of the head. When the mom was shot and bleeding on the ground, they shot her in a point-blank range and on her face after reloading their shotguns. and then they shot each of them in the kneecaps after the killing. Thereafter, they carefully picked up all the shotgun shells from the dead because they were worried that they had their fingerprints on them, and disposed of the shotgun shells and the ammunition and the remaining ammunition and the bloody clothing of the shotguns by dumping it in a dumpster or throwing it over a hill. Then they dialed 911 and they screamed and cried that someone killed our parents. And when the police came out, Eric screamed at the police and said, "I'm going to kill that murderer. I'm going to torture that person. Who would do such a thing?" Now, if the tapes had not come out from their psychiatrist, they persisted in that lie that they didn't do it for over 6 months, that it was the mafia that actually did it. But when that lie was revealed, they admitted that lie, but then came up with this self-defense story, a story that they did not tell their psychiatrist when the psychiatrist was hired to help them build their defense for the trial. They didn't tell anyone. In fact, what they did is they enlisted the help of 3 of their friends to come up with a story that the dad had violently raped one of Lyle's girlfriends, but she refused to say that story. They actually wrote a letter. Lyle wrote a letter to another girlfriend saying that, "I want you to testify that mom tried to poison the whole family." That woman actually did in the first trial, but the letter came out and she didn't testify in the second trial. And they even had another letter that Lyle wrote to one of Eric's friends that says, "We want you to say that we got a handgun from you the day before the murders to prove that we wanted to act in self-defense." And that letter came out, and that person also testified that that was complete fantasy, that he had never had that discussion with Lyle and never produced a gun the day before.
You're so good at this. I said I couldn't possibly put the 16 lies out because it would take up the whole 5-minute segment, but you summarized a lot of it right there.
Yeah.
And the family says you're using the judgment from 30 years ago of young men, barely men, who, in their belief, were sexually abused by their father, never protected by their mother, and of course, at the moment where they're being caught, they're making up lots and lots of lies. They say that the men, now men, the boys now men, have more than atoned for that and come to Jesus on that. I get what you're saying. For people who aren't super steeped in the law, and I'll make it super succinct here, the defense that went to trial was, "There's imminent danger. I must protect myself now. I must shoot." And what the state said was, "No, mom and dad were in the den eating ice cream, watching TV. That's not imminent danger," if I have the argument correct. But their argument at the first trial was it was imperfect self-defense, not the classic self-defense, imminent danger. It was imperfect self-defense. They perceived that they were in danger, even if it was unreasonable to perceive that. But they weren't allowed to argue that at second trial. So is the DA's office at least to acknowledge, or at least able to acknowledge, that there is that unique difference between self-defense, I'm in imminent danger, I must shoot, and imperfect self-defense, I'm really kind of out of my head and I think I'm in danger? Because that's the crux here, isn't it?
Actually not. They argued self-defense in both trials in order to show that it wasn't premeditated, willful, and deliberate, which is the standard for first-degree murder. Whether it was imperfect, which means they had an actual fear that turned out not to be real, or a real actual fear. Either way, they didn't have that fear. They never told the psychiatrist, they never told anyone for years that the reason they shot their parents was because they had an actual fear that the parents were going to shoot them that night. In fact, what they did tell the psychiatrist is that the dad was a dominating person, someone that they wanted to get rid of and thought about it for a week ahead of time. They said with respect to mom, that they didn't want mom to be a witness. That was their first response. And they thought mom was living such a miserable life. The dad had an affair on her, that they didn't want her to continue living that miserable life. And then they said it was basically a mercy killing. At no point do they bring up self-defense. They don't even bring up the sexual abuse, which is a different discussion. But here's my point to you.
That part I get, though. I always come in at that point and I say, it was the 80s. Men and even women rarely would talk about it. So we can all understand that there was a different way of thinking back then, right?
The point that I was making was on the self-defense argument. That's what they made up. They also suborned perjury and attempted to suborn perjury from all these friends. They've never owned up to that in 30 plus years. In fact, recently, Eric was interviewed in the Netflix special And he says in 2024 that they basically killed their parents for self-defense. So to the extent that Mr. Garagos or the family members don't like the facts and the law as it pertains to a resentencing hearing, or don't like it for a habeas, Ashleigh, you're absolutely right. They can go to the governor, go to his home, his residence, his workplace tomorrow, and say to the governor, use your unilateral constitutional power. It doesn't have all these tests, legal tests of resentencing or habeas, and commute our sentence tomorrow and release us tomorrow. The governor has that.
So that's a possibility. Yeah. Can I ask you this? If look, the families listening tonight, they're going to listen to everything you have to say. I'm super curious, Mr. Hochman, if the brothers were to listen to your 16-point summary in your release today and say, okay, we will give you what you want. How do you want it? Would you like it in an email? Would you like it in a phone call? Would you like it in a statement? And would it make a difference, Nathan Hochman? Would you actually consider in the near future a resentencing, or would this take years? I mean, what would it take, I guess, is the question, to satisfy your requests today?
So what I made very clear is I offered the Menendezes a pathway. That pathway to show the court, as much as they're going to show the DA's office, that they've exhibited true insights into their conduct. The analogy I drew was to the case of Sirhan Sirhan, the assassin of Robert F. Kennedy in 1968, who the governor actually had in front of him in 2022 when the parole board for the first time in 40 years recommended parole. Sirhan Sirhan was 77 years old at that time, 24 when he committed the crime. He basically had the lowest risk score you can have in the system. He had successfully engaged in rehabilitation in prison over those 54 years, yet the governor denied him parole, even though he had a lot of pro-parole factors, saying that Sirhan Sirhan did not exhibit the full insight to his crimes. He didn't completely accept responsibility for his crimes and therefore constituted an unreasonable risk to danger to society. I've drawn that analogy and said, look, if the Menendez brothers finally come clean after 30 years, and acknowledge all the stuff that they made up about their self-defense, their perjury, and their suborning perjury of others. And they do it sincerely, and they do it unequivocally. I don't care how they do it, in what form they do it. The ultimate messenger that will receive that is the court, because the court makes that final determination. What I said is that the district attorney's office will also certainly consider any new insights that the Menendezes want to offer in deciding how best to go forward with resentencing.
Last quick question. I only have 10 seconds. If they do that, say this week, and it arrives on your desk, will that hearing happen on the 20th, the resentencing hearing? And will you stand up and say, we're in support of these young men, or is that far too soon? And are you prepared to go that far and do what your predecessor did, and that is support their bid for resentencing? Or will you fight it in that hearing?
So we will certainly assess if the Menendez come forward tomorrow for the first time in 30 years and basically acknowledge all the lies that they have told, whether or not that's sincere, whether or not that's unequivocal. But like I said, putting aside what the DA's office thinks, they're going to have to convince a court that they have truly exercised this complete acceptance of responsibility, and it's not just some made-up words to please the court. If the court determines that they've actually exhibited this true insight into their actions, then yes, they can qualify and constitute being rehabilitated. They no longer would pose an unreasonable risk of danger to society, and the court can go forward with that resentencing.
Will you fight it?
Again, if we determine that it truly is sincere and unequivocal, I've already said in writing that we will certainly consider if it meets that standard, and if it does, they will then have met the standards for resentencing.
And I've only got 5 more seconds, and that is, are we going to see this hearing on the 20th?
That's up to the court. I don't know what type of hearing the court's going to have on the 20th.
Nathan Hochman, again, I can't thank you enough on a busy day that you would stop by and talk with us about it. I look forward to our next conversation. It's intriguing stuff, and certainly for the law books. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.